Welcome to the Forget About Money podcast. Today, our money topic is going to be things that are way too expensive to buy anymore. And then we'll talk about some other things. I'm here again with Carla. How are you doing and how was your weekend?
I am doing pretty great. And I had a super fun weekend. I did like a bunch of fire related activities, which is pretty common for us because I live in Longmont, which is like the fire capital of the universe. So yeah, on Saturday night, we went to a book launch party. Somebody wrote like sort of a money related book and they had a launch party. Don't tell anybody, but I actually
Do you want to plug it?
Read the book. No, I think it's called like Start Thinking Rich, 21 Harsh Truths that you need to like get from poor to rich or something along those lines.
Okay.
Yeah, I mostly went to just hang out with people that I know and that I knew were going. So it was fun. I can't really give you my opinion on the book one way or the other, though, because I haven't actually read it. But it was still a really fun party. So yeah, I did that on Saturday. And then Sunday, I went to a coffee meetup, which we have like roughly once a month around here, just to talk about like all things finance related. And yeah, it was super fun. It actually went way longer than they normally do. It was like almost 3 hours. And then it was a beautiful, beautiful day here in Longmont. So took a nice long walk with the world's most perfect dog. And yeah, it was a pretty solid weekend. Not at all debatable. Yeah. How about you? How was your weekend?
Well, my weekend was good. I got a text from my brother, Steven, and it was of him and his daughter. And it was a beautiful background. And I was like, I know that's not in Georgia, at least not in Warner Robins, Georgia. So he said he had gone to Longmont.
He sure did.
Did you see him?
I did. Yeah. I told him that I had been seeing his face a lot recently, AKA your face. Yeah. I got to see Steven and meet his daughter, Alyssa, for the first time. I've heard him talk about Alyssa a lot, and she was lovely to meet in person. Yeah. They were at that book launch party. So yeah, I am hanging out with the Boyer brothers left and right these days.
Good for you. So
also
good.
Debatable.
Yeah, I agree with that. Now, my weekend was okay, except for all of the football teams that I was rooting for lost. Vanderbilt, who has had a magical season, they beat number 1 Alabama earlier in the season. They couldn't really muster enough to overcome South Carolina's defense this Saturday, so they lost. They're still going to make it to a bowl game for the first time in 8 years, maybe. Okay. I don't know, a while.
That's something.
So overall, a really good season for Vanderbilt. Then Stevens Gators lost kind of pathetically to Texas, I think. And I'm not sure what's going on with the Florida program.
Does Texas mean UT? Is that University of Texas?
It does.
Okay.
Yes.
It's one of my alma maters. Yeah.
So do you do the hook 'em signal everywhere you go?
No.
Can you do it? Do you know what it is?
I mean, of course I know what it is. It's just a little hook 'em horns with your pinky and your pointer finger up. Yeah, I was a terrible, terrible Longhorns fan. I'm just a terrible sports fan in general. I could not possibly care any less about sports in any capacity. So
that was college. And then on Sunday, the Falcons lost to a not very good Saints team. So they should have been good at the season, but a lot of injuries, and they were 2-7 going in. So Atlanta should have beaten them, but did not.
Okay. Well, my husband is from Louisiana and he's got a bunch of Saints fans in his family, so maybe they'll be happy about that.
Yep.
I, again, am quite neutral. So it sounds like we both had pretty low spend weekends. Is that fair to say? How much money do you think you spent this weekend?
Oh, no. Spent so much money. No, it was I don't go out that much. I know it's hard to imagine a social butterfly such as myself, not just, gallivanting around Pacific Beach, San Diego, but I really don't go out that much. But there are reasons for that. Things they've gotten too expensive. There's some other factors too, but the prices of things are just ridiculous. I live in San Diego, which is already a high cost of living area.
Definitely.
And it does seem like whether it's the city, state, the restaurants, grocery stores, wherever, everybody's just trying to get as much money from the citizens as they can around here. And I honestly don't know I really don't know how people do it.
Yeah, it's definitely gotten tougher. I feel like housing is the biggest piece of that puzzle for most people. Well, so let's go through like some things that we don't spend money on anymore because they maybe have gotten too high or whatever reason that might float your boat. But yeah, so we've looked at this BuzzFeed article that has all these different things that, like people chiming in and saying, I don't spend money on this or that anymore. But before we dig into that, I want to hear your list, David. Tell me what you refuse to spend money on anymore.
Well, refuse is a strong word. So I will say, even if I go through this list, I will still spend money on those things every once in a while.
Okay.
But definitely give it some thought ahead of time. So let's start with number one. Energy drinks is one. Like, I'm probably drink more caffeine throughout the day than I should. I'm not a big coffee drinker, but I'll do pre-workout powders. And if I'm filling up on gas and for some reason, let's go get a energy drink. Terrible for you. I know that. You get a little pick-me-up in the day if you get one. However, there's a value exchange. And so I would say that the average energy drink costs, like on a great day, like even if you get one that's like 2 for $4 or 3 for $5 deals, if they exist. And I know somebody's listening to this saying like, it's way cheaper than that where I am. Good. I'm very happy for you for that, but that's not what it is here. And so I would say an energy drink costs $2 on a good day. So coffee is another thing, something else I don't do out, because by the time, even if you get like the most basic coffee after a tip at Starbucks, you're paying $5. Mm-hmm. And I think that's usually it's more, but I think that's it because you got to do the double espresso latte. I don't even know all the lingo because I don't do it. But I would say on average at the low end, it's $5 per every time you go. Not to mention there's a big long line and you got to wait mostly.
No, that feels true to me. Okay.
Yeah. And then, how I think about those decisions are, what's the value exchange? It's for the pick me up. That's what you're paying for. But did you know you could get a bottle of caffeine pills on Amazon for like $16 and 500 pills. And each of those pills has 200 milligrams of caffeine.
Wait, how much caffeine is in like a standard energy drink?
I would say it ranges, but 300 is a good round number. Some's a little bit more, some a little bit less. So 300 milligrams is a good round number.
Okay.
So for 5 cents so you're exchanging $2 for 5 cents.
Yeah.
A $2 energy drink to get the same amount of caffeine that you can get from 5 cents.
That seems like a very solid swap. Although I'm wondering, how do we just feel about maybe getting a better night's sleep? What do we think about that?
Well, I think that's a different conversation, and I'm not opposed to having that conversation.
That's fair.
But I do want, but you do make a good point. And I think one practice that I try to put in place is I try not to have caffeine after 12 o'clock.
Okay.
At noon. So then by the time it's out of your system, I'm not sure, like half-life or whatever it's called. Like usually you're good at like 7 or 8 hours after you drink caffeine. You should be okay.
Yeah. I have no idea what the half-life of caffeine is, but half-life does feel like the right term. So, yeah. Okay. So energy drinks and coffee, you are swapping out for caffeine pills on Amazon. I have to say, do you remember that Saved by the Bell episode?
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
That one?
That is the one. What was it? Caffeine pills, or was it something more nefarious than that she was supposedly addicted
like those
to?
NoDoz, those like super caffeine pills, maybe?
Yeah, maybe. I don't remember.
It was the acting performance of a century.
If anyone doesn't know what we're talking about, Saved by the Bell was a TV show in the 90s. Yeah, the 90s. And there's this episode where one character like supposedly gets addicted to caffeine pills. And it's just this like ridiculous storyline, and there's this major intervention, and it's just all very hilarious. Yeah, that's what I think of when I think of caffeine pills. I actually think I read somewhere that it was supposed to be some like harder drug, and then the TV network was like, let's tone that down a little. That feels like a lot for like a teen program. So they changed it to caffeine pills.
And now, if that was like in today's context, you're like, it's not even edgy enough. We can't put that on TV. We got to step it up.
So that's true.
Let's move it up to methamphetamines.
Yep.
Crystal meth, yeah. Okay,
so anything else on your list of stuff that you don't like buying anymore because it's too pricey?
Yes, cereal.
Cereal.
And this is when we've had a huge inflation over the last 4 or 5 years. And one of the first indicators of me personally that I saw was I walked into a Rite Aid, and right in the front on a shelf for sale, and it was a box of cereal. It was Raisin Bran Crunch. And it said for sale, $5.49. And it wasn't even one of the family ones. It's like just a regular skinny box of cereal.
Yeah.
I was like, how's that on sale? That's not on sale. That's expensive as hell. So that's what kind of like my personal indicator in a regular Rite Aid where you would think something on sale may be reasonably priced. I don't know.
I would actually think the opposite. My experience is that normal food stuff is always more expensive when you're in like a Walgreens or something like that. So Yeah, I think maybe you're shopping in the wrong places. But okay.
But even now, if you go to a grocery store and you look at a box of cereal, it's $5.
Yeah.
At least.
Cereal has definitely gone up. And you are not alone in this. I think cereal is like number one on that BuzzFeed list as well. Yeah, so we don't really eat cereal unless you count oats, which I don't think you should. But I have eaten a lot of cereal in my past. I think the best way to go is to buy that generic, like giant bag stuff. I know people like think it's not as fancy or whatever, but I would say just get over it. It's practically the same stuff. So
I don't want to get off with the wrong impression. I don't sit around eating cereal all day. It's not good for you. A lot of sugar, very little is good for you. But every once in a while, you have that little craving for a sweet tooth craving. And you're like, okay, a bowl of cereal sounds good. I don't even buy milk anymore. So that's another reason why I don't. If I do buy milk, it's almond milk and I just don't have it usually.
Yeah.
When I do have a son, so I want to have it available if he decides he wants it. So I do buy, you're right, the big bag, the Malta Mill brand. It's not the General Mill or the other, but it's a big bag of Malta Mill.
Yeah.
And it's the knockoff. Like I think I have like the Sugar Smack knockoff or Sugar Puffs probably is what it's called. Another hack for cereal is like seasonal stuff or some kind of gimmicky stuff.
Cereal? Are you talking about like Count Chocula goes up at Halloween or like what are we talking about?
Blueberry, baby. Yeah.
Okay.
Or whatever. There might be another one. I don't know. I haven't had it in probably since I was 6 years old. I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely been a good while for me as well.
But seasonal cereals like that, or like even, so I shop at the commissary. I'm one of the fortunate people who get the privilege of shopping at a commissary. So I do get, in general, groceries cheaper than like if you were to buy it at Kroger's or a Ralph's.
Yeah.
But still, even then, I think I got this box of cereal, and I'm only saying this because it's got Travis and Jason Kelsey on the cover, and it's a mixture of Reese's, Puffs, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and Lucky Charms. And I think this was like 99 cents. It's unopened, but like 99 cents.
Wait.
So you don't even know who these people are, do you, since you don't know football?
Okay, but I know who Taylor Swift is. So yes, I do know who those people are. Wait, but that's from the commissary. It's 99 cents?
It is. I think it was like $1.
Okay.
They're just trying to get rid of it. So I think it's...
Do people not want to eat Kelsey branded cereal?
It's just the Lucky Charms, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and Reese's Puffs. Doesn't sound that appetizing, but at 99 cents, I had to grab it.
Yeah, there you go. Can't pass up that kind of a deal. Okay. Anything else on your list that you're just dying to talk about?
I live in Pacific Beach, and it's very walkable, and there's a lot of bars and restaurants around here. And it's nice. It's nice. So when I first moved here in July, I think I moved here in July. Yeah. So I would frequently go check out the different bars, and there's a place nearby that's got nice pool tables. So I'd like to go shoot pool, and they charge by the hour like $16 or $18 an hour to play pool, which is, again, that's a lot. But on top of that, you want to have a drink while you're there. So a friend of mine and I went there one evening, and he got a couple of Jack and Cokes, and so we went to check out, and each of his drinks cost $10 for one Jack and Coke. So at that point, I'm like, okay, I'm just not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, I live 2 blocks away from the place, and that's not unique. Every bar around here is sort of like that. It may not be as expensive, and I'm sure listeners are like, well, my honky tonk down the street, I get them $4 a shot or something. But
yeah,
again, that's not the norm for a place like here. But then you think, I don't know if they say like if you're an alcoholic, if you drink at home by yourself, or you could just be frugal. Mm-hmm. Like I think that's another. Or maybe that's just an excuse. Like, no, I'm not an alcoholic. I'm frugal.
Frugal or alcoholic?
I'm not. Actually, is it? No, I don't have it. But this is the pre-workout powder that I was talking about before. Mm-hmm. And that's only about 67 cents per scoop.
Okay. So, that's pretty reasonable. Yeah, that's a pretty solid list. I was really struggling to come up with anything that I'm like just drawing a hard line. We just won't do that anymore. I did come up with one thing, although I will say this is not a recent thing. This is like a lifelong commitment. Mm-hmm. Anything in the vein of like Uber Eats or DoorDash or whatever, where you pay a premium to have someone bring food to you, absolutely refuse to do it. Don't think I've ever done it. Certainly I've never done it when it's like just me and Robert. Like it would have to be with friends who would insist on this. And we do have one friend whom we totally adore, but he's kind of a fancy pants and he likes Uber Eats. And so we may have done it with him, although we put up a huge fight every time he suggests it. But yeah, I guess I'm of the opinion, I don't love paying people to do things that I could very, very easily do myself. So like with food, I'm like a decent cook. It better be pretty good and something that I can't do on my own, or it would just take a really long time for me to do on my own. And like, even if we are eating out, I'm sure as hell not going to pay a premium to save me like a 5-minute trip back and forth to wherever we're getting food from. So yeah, I am pretty anti Uber Eats and DoorDash. I think it's a huge money suck for a lot of folks, and I refuse to jump on that bandwagon.
Yeah, I agree. I used to live in an apartment downtown San Diego, and people always have like Uber Eats bags left outside their doors. And many times they'll show up the night before and it'll still be there the next day. So they actually even never eat it. So it's just like, sitting out there. I don't know why. They maybe passed out or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it does seem odd. But maybe that's you think that's a generational thing? Do you think because it's so convenient that the next generation is just like, that's just the way it is? Like it's just a societal norm now?
Partially, it might be a little bit of a generational thing, but I think people of all ages have been like, oh, this is amazingly convenient and I'm just going to do this all the time. I think there's a lot of people who just fall into the pattern. And then once you're in it, I feel like it's probably a pretty tough habit to break. But yeah, I think the key is just don't get started. That's what helps for me, at least. But yeah, I do think maybe younger kids like it more, especially maybe if you haven't learned how to cook yet or you have a super busy job, can see it being more reasonable then. But even then, it's just still like such a huge suck on your money. Yesterday,
I was walking my dog Pepper, the best dog in the world. I walked by this restaurant and it had some patio seating and the menus were on the tables. And I knew we were going to be talking about this. So I glanced over and looked at it, and it was a breakfast menu. And there was a breakfast plate, and it was 2 eggs and probably bacon and toast maybe. And it was $14. And I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, again, how do people afford it? And then on top of that, you got tipping and you got gas money to get there in many cases. And I just don't see how this is sustainable. I just don't. Eating out is definitely pricey for sure. Yeah, I try to think of it as just like a very unusual treat or things that you do when you're spending time with friends who maybe aren't up for like a potluck or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, so much of what we do around here are just gatherings where people bring their own food, and it's dramatically cheaper and more fun, honestly, I think. Yeah. So. When you go to the grocery store, is there something that you used to buy that now you look at the price and like, oh, how did that happen? And maybe you don't pick it up? Yeah, I would say that's a pretty unusual occurrence for me because I don't know. So we eat we're vegetarian, and so meat is like a huge thing that I know has gone up a lot in price that we just don't even notice because we don't look at it. And yeah, like so much of what we buy is just pretty low cost stuff. Like we eat a lot of beans and rice and pasta and vegetables and fruits. Sometimes fruits, like they do shock me. Berries right now, as we're coming out of berry season, are getting pretty pricey. But my hack for that is I've started to buy frozen berries in the winter, and they're much cheaper, and that works great. I don't like it quite as much as the fresh berries, but it's pretty solid and it's way, way cheaper. So yeah, I feel like food is an area where we're happy to just get the things that we know we really love. And there's, there hasn't been like, big carrots is not like driving up the price of carrots. It's been pretty chill in the vegetable area. So yeah, the stuff that we eat is usually pretty inexpensive. Also, this is like my favorite snack hack ever is popcorn. It is so delicious and it's so easy to make at home. And you can make it. I'm not talking about what do you call it? Like Jiffy poppers. Yeah, not the microwave popcorn, but stuff that you just make at home in like an air popper, or you can just put your little kernels in a paper bag and throw it in the microwave. You can dress it up however you want it. It's way better for you than like a bag of Doritos. And it is a fraction of the cost. Like chips have gone up a lot, and popcorn is where it's at, and everyone should be eating way more popcorn. That's my pitch for popcorn. Pitch for popcorn. Yeah. I like it. Yeah, I agree. We eat popcorn a good bit too, but it's probably not the healthy kind that you're talking about. All that fake butter. That's what we eat around here. Yeah. Steak has gone up a good bit, a lot actually. When I go to even the commissary, which is generally cheaper than a normal grocery store. Yeah. Two thinly sliced ribeyes is like $22. But I'll go to Costco and buy this huge thing of ribeye and then just cut it in slices and it might cost like $270 or even maybe upwards of like $300 for it. But when you get done, you've got 20 something steaks sliced this thick that you can put in the freezer And what I do is I just thaw them out, cut them into cubes, throw them in the air fryer for 9-10 minutes, and call it good.
Yeah, I
really
do think Costco is like just such a great way to get your grocery spending down. If like huge flashing neon, if you are responsible about it and you don't get sucked in, because man, it is so easy to walk in there and drop like $300 because you're like, oh, look at these little Thin Mint bites that they have that look super delicious and cost like $9.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, the list goes on and on and on. There's so many things in there that you can just be like, that looks tasty. But yeah, if you go in with like a mission, I know these are the things that Costco has for cheaper. These are the things that will last me for months and months. Or like if you eat a lot of fruit, like I get some fruit at Costco because I eat a lot of fruit and it works out great. So yeah, you gotta go in with a mission, man. But if you do that, I feel like Costco can be amazing.
Yeah, I agree. And we were talking about alcohol earlier, but where do you buy alcohol? Do you buy it at the local liquor store on the corner, or do you go to Costco and get it? They've got Costco brand liquor. But even if you didn't get the Costco brand liquor, let's say you could find a handle of Jack Daniels for, I don't know, $32 maybe.
Yeah.
And if you were to, did you know in a handle, you actually have 40 1.5 ounce shots?
I did not know that.
In a handle. Yeah. So if you buy a big bottle of liquor, it's about 40 shots.
Okay.
And a shot is 1.5 ounces, and that's about 80 cents a shot.
Yeah.
So you add a Coke to that, which is 75 cents a can, probably roughly, if you buy it from a discount store.
Uh-huh.
So what is that? 75, 80, $1.55? It's $1.55 for that $10 drink that you just got down there.
Yeah.
So 650% markup, I think.
That's
650% markup on alcohol if you eat out, drink out, or you can just be a frugal, not alcoholic at home drinking.
That's good. Yeah. I mean, I think that's the way to like tackle those things. It makes so much sense. So I'm just curious if there was anything else on this BuzzFeed list that like really jumped out at you that you were like, oh yeah, either that's really stupid or you're like, oh man, I totally agree with that. I won't do that anymore.
Was cars on the list?
I don't think it was, but yeah, cars is a big one. Yeah.
I think cars is a big one too, because at this point in my life, like I I've got some money and I'm like, okay. And now it's not, I understand like frugal, buy a 10-year-old Camry or hybrid or a Camry or an Accord hybrid if you can find it and just ride it till you can't ride it anymore. But that's not the point I'm at in my life right now.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, maybe I'll go check out new cars. And then I did check out new cars, and it doesn't take long to, a new truck. Have you looked at the price of new trucks?
I am not a big truck person.
They are crazy.
Wait, let me guess.
Crazy. I bought rental properties for half the price of a new truck.
So my guess is like a pretty base model truck is going to be somewhere in the range of 60 to 70, 65. I'm going to say 65.
I think that's probably fair.
Okay.
But I have seen trucks and SUVs go up to above $100,000.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
We're not talking about like luxury brands either. We're talking, normal Toyotas.
That's pretty
so
much.
I don't know how people can pay this stuff. And then I think Kelley Blue Book says that the price of a new car went from, I think it was 2018, like 38,000, and to now it's at 48,000 or something. It's like a $10,000 or $11,000 difference, but in just 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in just 6 years.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, I think we have never fully dug out of the inflation hole that COVID dug for us and like all the pipeline issues that people were having. That's my take on it. And yeah, it is definitely continuing to linger, even though it's come down.
It has.
I know it's still hard. Like, I mean, my personal take is I don't think prices are ever going to actually go back down. It's so hard to put that genie back in the bottle once prices have gone up, unless so we can talk about eggs. I know that's a hot topic. I feel like for eggs, there's a specific reason that it's gone up so much, which is this bird flu that's been decimating, or I shouldn't say decimating. It actually means, did you know, fun fact, the word decimate means to take out only 10% of something. So I think it's done way more than decimate. I think it's done like some significant damage to the chicken populations. So yeah, egg prices have gone up for that reason. And I think as the flocks get better and like repopulate, those egg prices will come back down. But yeah, eggs are definitely a place where I know people are feeling it. But I was going to say, apart from some specific thing like a bird flu killing chickens, generally prices do trend upwards. And I'm skeptical that we'll get to see them go back down. But I don't know.
And I think once you've established a baseline at a higher price, businesses just won't lower them, even if their margins Because imagine, eggs are not the most expensive they've been. Like a year and a half ago, what was it? They were like triple what they are now.
Yeah.
I remember seeing just a dozen of eggs was like $8.
Yeah.
Something like that here. And now you can get them back down to $2.50 or $3.25, something like that. You can still find them cheap enough again.
Yeah.
But when they went up, I understood them when the restaurants maybe they did really need to increase their breakfast price to $14. But when the price of eggs dropped back down, they're not going to drop their menu prices again. So I think that the big fluctuation of increase, and we're just talking about eggs as an example, but it's across the board. It was like the supply. You're talking about the supply chain in automotive during COVID. I mean, we'll never see it back down again, I don't think.
Yeah, that's my guess too.
But I think we are fortunate right now that they are starting to dip a little bit. Used car prices are going down significantly, and new car prices are going down a little bit because they are piling up. If you've done a little bit of researching, car lots are just piling up. Nobody's buying them. So then and right now we're at the end of a year. The next models are going to be coming out. There's no place to put them. So something's going to have to give.
Yeah. Yeah.
And hopefully it's the price.
Would not be a crazy time to buy a car. I think that's reasonable if you need one. No one should ever buy stuff they don't need.
Do you remember car commercials back in the day where you would see it, but there would still be small print, but you could still see it, and it would have like the MSRP. So I noticed now the car commercials, they don't even have that MSRP on there anymore. They just say $7,000 cash back or whatever credit, but they don't tell you the price of the truck or vehicle. So it's like, great, it's $7,000 off of a $102,000 vehicle. Because if they put it in the commercial, nobody would go to the lot.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so interesting. I have not paid attention to car commercials lately, but now I will. I'll see if I can notice that. But yeah, I feel like the sticker price always used to be on there for sure. That's a wild one to think about. So one thing that's on this BuzzFeed list is an Amazon Prime subscription. And the person just said, better for me anyway to stop buying shit I don't need. And I thought, yeah, that's actually not that crazy. And so this is something I didn't know until fairly recently, that with Amazon Prime, I feel like the primary reason most people get a Prime membership is the free shipping. But I think you get free shipping anyway on anything over like $30, $35 maybe. Do you know what the number is?
I think it depends on the whoever you're buying it from.
Okay.
I think they decide.
Got it. Maybe that makes sense. Well, maybe it's not so crazy then. But I was thinking like, man, you could just, sort of accumulate little stuff you need. If something that you need on Amazon is not $35, can't you just like sort of glom all your Amazon purchases together, cancel your Prime membership, and get that free shipping anyway? So it's something I'm thinking about, and we'll look into some more. So we might cancel ours next year.
However, that's not just about free shipping. With your Prime membership, you get the free streaming Prime Video.
Well, you pay for it. You don't get it for free, David.
Also, free shipping. I'm saying you neglected to say that you get a whole streaming service.
Yeah, no, that's true.
That you pay for in addition to free shipping.
Yeah. So this is a good segue because streaming services was also on this list. And the person was basically like, look, each one of these things is like $20 a month. If I'm just, doing all of these things, it's going to add up to over $100 a month anyway. I might as well just cancel them all and get cable instead. I do not agree with that person. I think you can only watch one television show at a time, right? So like just rotate through them. That's what everyone that I know around here does. That's certainly our approach. Like just have one at a time. The only exception to that for us is Amazon Prime because we have that anyway, like all the time. But I don't know. I feel like they haven't had any super amazing shows in a while. I don't think I would miss the TV streaming service that much. Am I missing amazing Amazon Prime shows? What are you watching on Prime?
Not a whole lot. I don't use, but there's just, I think I have all of the damn streaming services. I think I've got every one of them.
At one time?
Look, I know it's not the right thing to do. I got a kid. He wants to watch Disney Plus, Hulu. You got to get the combo pack, and then you got to get the ESPN because it's all connected somehow. I don't know how it's connected. And so Amazon Prime. We talked about that Nate Bargatze. He's got to stand up on Amazon Prime.
That's true.
So before you cancel, at least watch that one.
Okay, that's fair. I will watch that one. Although I think I may have already seen it, but if I haven't, I will make sure to watch it. But I feel like there's stuff occasionally. Also, like I know password sharing is not something we're supposed to be doing, but if there's like one thing you want to watch, can you just not like have a movie night with your friends and use somebody else's subscription for the night? So there are ways around these issues.
There are. Wait, did you say steal someone's streaming services?
No, I would never advocate stealing. I'm just saying like the occasional very light password sharing for like one thing at a time.
You had Napster, didn't you? You used that a lot in college. You're the one.
I for sure was into Napster way back in the day. Yep.
I don't want to say that. Well, I guess I'll say it. We'll see if we'll get canceled on YouTube. I don't want to say piracy because I don't want to I don't know what words trigger algorithm things, but
you're just talking about people who sail the seven seas, right?
That's what R and all that.
R, totally.
So we talked about things that we think twice about because they're just too expensive. Either we figure out some hack to get the same value in return, or we just don't buy it. Are there things that you do spend money on that like I would think is probably too expensive, or that somebody listening is like, what? I would never.
Yeah. So the biggest thing that comes to mind for me is I have a yoga studio membership. And like, I fully understand that is probably kind of silly because there are like 18 quadrillion YouTube videos where I can just watch yoga instruction for free.
Yoga with Adrienne.
I've done a lot of yoga with Adrienne. I like her a lot. So yeah, I fully get that this is like a, kind of a luxurious thing. I will say I've been doing more hot yoga recently, and you can't really recreate that in your own home, at least not very cheaply or very desirably. But yeah, beyond that, like if you're just sitting in a room with a bunch of other people doing yoga,
the visual. Can you imagine Robert walking in the room? Honey? What in the hell is this?
Yeah, it's, super moderate temperatures. It's only like 105 degrees, 85% humidity, I think is what they set it at. So, no big deal. Anyway, yeah, like normal, not hot yoga, you could absolutely do it in your home for absolutely $0 and not have to drive all the way to the yoga studio and not have to like pay for any of the yoga instruction. But it's just so fun and it's very motivating for me. Like I don't do yoga on my own nearly as much as I should. But when I have a class to go to, I get excited about it and I'm happy to go and like give it my all for a while. Yeah, I feel like any sort of fitness subscription like that, there's virtually, maybe other than rock climbing, where, again, it would be hard to like recreate that in your own home. And like rock climbing in nature is certainly not free and it's more dangerous, whatever. But yeah, there's very few fitness things that you could not just as easily do on your own for free. But I feel like for me, at least, because I'm not super athletic and I don't have that like strong motivation to do it on my own, it's well worth the money to pay somebody to motivate me to go to a class. So yeah.
Just join the military.
That sounds amazing.
Basic training.
Yeah. I will look into that as soon as we hang up here today.
Yeah. Okay, good. I want to get credit though. Help you meet the quota, help the military meet their quota. Did you know right now the military is at the worst point of recruiting in history as far as numbers?
Yeah.
You can't get people to join.
It does not shock me, I have to say. Yeah.
And the people that people don't want to join, and then the people who do want to join, only like 25% of them even qualified because of, mental health, ASVAB scores or whatever, they may not qualify.
Yeah.
ASVAB is the test that you take to determine what rating you can get, whatever branch you join. And then the other's like substance abuse.
Oh,
so
God, that's
a big one.
Yeah.
So people just don't qualify anymore. And you definitely don't want to lower the bar, even though I think it probably has been lowered a good bit in the last couple of decades.
Yeah.
To keep the numbers up.
Well, thanks for depressing us all, David. That was super fun. So yeah, what like on a lighter note, are there things that you do spend money on that you think are well worth it to you?
Like you, you have a hot yoga membership. I have a gym membership and it's $100 a month. And many people will be like, that's just too much. I use it. So I think a lot of people maybe have had gym memberships in the past and they didn't use it. So they just assume that there's no value exchange. I try to go to the gym at least 3 times a week and usually for at least 2 hours. Go in there, jump on the treadmill, do weights. And it's usually more than 3 times a week. But just even assuming 3 times a week, that's, 3 times a week, 2 hours, 6 times 4, 24 hours a month.
Yep.
100 divided by 24, it was like $4 and something.
Yeah. $4 every time you go.
Yeah. And the more you go or the longer you spend there, the lower that hourly rate goes. So if you really think about it, you're trading, you're paying $4 to go get in better shape. And if you're at the gym too, that means the opportunity cost is like you're not sitting on the couch watching TV. That's a kind of a trade-off too.
Yeah. Yeah. Plus for me, I think there's just some like mental health benefits of getting out of the house a little bit, being part of that like community of people who are all like-minded, trying to accomplish similar things. So yeah, for me, it feels like money well spent, but I can certainly see where other people would be like, that's stupid. You could do that for free.
Is there etiquette at hot yoga classes that somebody does and you're like, oh, I can't believe they're doing that?
Okay. So I've actually recently overheard some of the yoga instructors like gossiping about some of the students. And they were saying that there's apparently somebody in like one of the classes is just a really, really loud breather. And they feel, I mean, they encourage you to like so breathe really deeply in yoga class. Like breath is a big part of yoga. But apparently this person is just making these ridiculous noises. And they actually talked, I assume it's a her because it's mostly hers in yoga class. Somebody talked to her about it. And apparently her response was just like, that's just how I breathe. That's just what I do. I can't not do it.
Somebody actually talked to her about it? If you were the instructor and you were the person going up to talk about it, how would you frame that conversation?
Oh my God. Well, first of all, I just wouldn't do it because I'm way too non-confrontational. But if I did, I don't know, I'd probably like ask if something was wrong, maybe. Like, is there something going on with your breathing? But yeah.
Okay, I'm in the class. It's me. You don't know me, but I'm in there. And you walk over and you're like, you know my name. That's all you know. And you know I'm a heavy breather. I'm sweat. It's hot yoga. It's after. I can barely catch my breath. How would you say that? You just say, David.
I might just ask if you're okay.
What would you say exactly? Carla? Confrontation. We're working with your confrontational skills. I mean,
Okay, so I feel like the way that they were, hold on, I have to clear my throat. This is making me laugh. Okay, so the way that they were describing this person's breath, it did not sound like heavy breathing. There's a lot of heavy breathing, and that's totally normal. I think it was more of like like there was like some vocalization going on in addition to just like heavy breathing. So I think what I would say to you is, David, it sounded like you were really struggling to breathe in class. Are you okay? How's that going for you?
I didn't pass out. I'm good. But then that's not the issue. The issue is that it bothers people. Yeah. So how do you tell them that it bothers?
I think I just say, so it is your way of breathing is quite loud. And yoga is supposed to be a place where we can all be calm and like focus on our breath and our body. And it's a little distracting to do that while you're grunting over there. Is there any way we can tone that down a little?
You would just be like, damn it, Susan, shut up.
Is that what you would say? Is that your approach?
I think that might be, I probably would have a more direct approach. I'd say, you all right, man? What the hell's going on over there?
It actually might be a man because we definitely have some men in every class and they do tend to breathe a little louder, I will say. So I don't know. Maybe it was one of the guys. Yeah. Mystery. I don't think I've encountered this person in class. I have heard like a couple weird breathers, but nothing to the level that they were describing. So
if this is the floor plan, you've got all the mats and then there's just one mat over here and then all the other mats are like crammed on top of each other, like just to get away from the
loud breather.
Yeah.
The very vocal breather. Yeah. I don't know.
Make sure you share this link with them, whoever that person is. That's another way you could break it.
Yeah, I will be sure to do that. Send it around to everyone in my yoga studio.
There's one more thing that I spend money on that I think people would think is completely ridiculous. And having taken a look at this again today, I think it probably is ridiculous. And it's supplements and multivitamins and things like that.
Okay.
It took up like half of my counter, like a third of my counter space this morning when I took them all out of the cabinet and put it down. And I usually there's like little containers and I'll put all the pills in it. And it usually ends up being like a handful of pills I take every day.
Oh, man.
But I took them all out of the cabinet, stuck them on the counter and took a picture of it today. I'll put that. It'll be showing like right now on the video, probably. So,
do you actually, do they make you feel better? Like, do you feel like
They do. They really do. I've had some, some issues in the past. And when I do take certain ones, I think it does make a difference. And whether it's placebo effect or not, there is a difference in how I feel. So I will probably continue to do that.
Okay.
People just saw that picture, I'm sure. And it is, I agree, it's ridiculous. And it's not that cheap.
A handful of pills feels like a lot of pills, but I don't know. I've never really gotten into the supplement game. So I am not a very knowledgeable person in this area, but it feels like a lot. It
is. Carla, I think we both agree that there's a difference of like buying something to consume for a dollar amount and then having the experience of going out with friends or whatever it might be. And in your case, this last weekend, you went on a coffee meeting with a handful of friends and you incurred some cost there. Do you think next time you do that, you'll just walk up with a couple pills and say, here, just drink these caffeine pills and just ask for a nickel in return?
So actually, I spent $0 at the coffee meetup because we had it at our local co-working space and everyone just brought their own coffee. Also, I don't drink coffee in general. So I just had my trusty water bottle, my emotional support water bottle, as my husband likes to call it. And yeah, I incurred $0 there as well. But next time I do go to a coffee shop, I am going to tell everyone that they should stop drinking coffee and just buy caffeine pills. I'm absolutely going to become that person.
Just pass them out. You become the pusher.
That wouldn't be weird at all. Everyone would totally love it.
Somebody will make a sitcom episode about it.
Oh, man.
Well, Carla, thank you very much for talking through that. Listeners and watchers, whoever you are out there, thank you very much for sticking with us through this new format. And hopefully these conversations will be a little bit more entertaining. And if there's anything that you think is too expensive out there that's affecting your life, please share it. And or if you think you're spending too much money on something, but you find it value, also share that too. And thank you very much for watching and listening.
Thanks, everybody.
I'm going to hit stop now.